My only complaint about this camera is that I didn't buy one years ago. I just bought this Nittage Boroscope camera that works wirelessly with my iPhone. It's a 1080p. Wait, I'll tell you all about the camera in a little bit. Now it's story time. I'm going to tell you why I bought this camera and why I should have bought it a long time ago with a job, an event, a situation that came up that I needed to see in tight places that I couldn't get into with any of the equipment I have. Now, if you don't like story, if you're one of those, just shut up and show me, don't talk, you talk too much. Sorry, you're on the wrong channel, I talk too much. But I will do you a favor. I will right here put a time code to when I come back and start telling you about the camera. So if you don't want to hear story, you can jump there. For the rest of you, come along. My Ford F-150. We're getting ready for a long road trip pulling the Smart Woodshop. I have driven this thing 500 miles in the last 3 years. Driving it around for a few days because I wanted to exercise it and make sure that everything was going good before we head out on this trip. We got in the truck and it smelled horrific. We checked around in the cab and everything, and it was faint, but it was in there. And then I turned on the blower and it was more. Right here, kind of close to the battery, you could really smell it. I knew it was coming from in there. What about the cabin filter? I don't think I've ever changed the cabin filter. I'm looking all over for the cabin filter. And I know that in my Prius, it's behind the glove box, which just pops out with no tools. So same thing, I popped the glove box out with no tools, couldn't find anything. Got the manual out, no mention of a cabin filter, none. Back to YouTube, there is no cabin filter. Sorry about that, guys, but on a 2008 to 2014, Ford didn't do cabin filters. Back to YouTube, where's the intake on the cabin for the cabin air on a 2014 F-150? Nothing comes up. But there was a video on adding a cabin filter. As part of that, he had to get inside under the hood and put a piece of plastic that came with his kit that was glued that covered over a hole. And then it forced the air through the filter another way. That's how I learned where the intake was. And I saw just grass, just stuffed with grass. And I knew that it was a mouse nest or a rat's nest. I put on double rubber gloves. I put on a N95 mask, got a bag, plastic bag. I cut some cardboard, put it in my engine, fit it in there so that nothing would fall down. It'd all fall in the cardboard. And I started pulling the grass out, putting it in the garbage bag, and any debris fell on the cardboard. And as I was doing that, there's a little movement and there were maggots. I ended up finding 2 baby mice. Maybe they were baby rats, I don't know. They were so little. But they were just moving with the maggots in them. And it smelled awful, but I got them out. And then I got all the grass out and I got it pretty clean as far as I could see. I sprayed really good with Lysol, got my hand in there with a cloth and I wiped everything. And I kind of reached as far as I could, but I couldn't, my hand wouldn't go that far. Long story long, it has been thoroughly cleaned out, decontaminated, and Lysol. So that is the backstory of why I have this Boroscope. I didn't have it when I needed it, but after that was all done, I decided I don't care what it cost. I'm getting one of those snake cameras that you can see inside of things. I've been doing construction long enough and remodeling long enough that there's been a lot of situations where I've crawled into places to see when I could have just snaked a camera in and been able to evaluate what I needed to do. So I went back on YouTube and I did some searching, and it was Adam Savage. He had gotten this one and liked it. So I ordered it next day, Amazon Prime. One day, I ordered it, I had it the next day. Pulled it out of the box, was already charged, grabbed my iPhone with the camera, it took me right to the app, and there it is. This is a 1080p camera, so it's pretty good resolution. It has these LEDs on the end, and it has a brightness controller. So I can turn them up more or off. Hopefully this camera is picking this up. I can read that and see all the detail in there. And for $250, not a bad deal. That was what I was ready to spend. It was $27. No shipping, delivered the next day, set up in 5 minutes, ready to use. It holds its shape so you can, it's not just floppy. Like if it was just a wire, it'd be hard to use. And this one is, I'm gonna say about, I think it's probably 5 feet, just under 5 feet. They make longer ones, and I might get a longer one as another one, but I knew that most of what I would do the shorter one would work, and I didn't want to hassle with the 15-foot extension every time I wanted a little bit. And at this price, having a second one, if I decide to get it, will not be a big deal. So in the box, you get the camera, you get a USB charging cable, and you get this little container with some accessories that are kind of cool. I don't know if I'll ever use them, but you get a hook so you can unscrew the protective lens cover there, screw this on, and then I suppose if you've lost a ring down a drain or it was in the P-trap, you could snake this down there and hook onto it. A similar thing, but it's a magnet. So, you know, it's a pretty small magnet. I don't know how much it would pick up, but at least you've got that if you needed to snake. I suppose if you're going through a bore that small, then whatever's in there, maybe that magnet would pick up. This interesting mirror. So you've got a, I guess it would be a 90-degree mirror. So your it's on your camera and you're able to look out the side. And that would be helpful if you are going down a tight, like a bore, and you can't go around a corner, you could at least look in that direction. 5.5. So you can get into some really tight spaces with this. My only complaint about this camera is that I didn't buy one years ago. What do you think? Are you going to get one of these? Hey, if you want this one in particular, I'll put a link to the one I have down below in the video. Be sure to subscribe to the Smart Woodshop and ring the bell so you'll know every time we put up a new video. If you'd like to get a detailed set of plans to build yourself a smart station, a smart bench, any of the accessories that work with the smart system, or the Smart Woodshop itself, there's a link in the description of this video down below. Mahalo.